Welcome back. In this video, we're going to set up the view model that allows us to pass the data over, basically displaying the location of the user in the sense of latitude and longitude. So therefore, let's go ahead and create a new data class here, which I'm going to call location data. Now, this data class will be very simple. It's just going to have two vals. So one will be the latitude, which will be a double, and the other one will be the longitude. Wait a second, that's not right, like so, which will also be a double. Okay, so that's our data class. It will contain location data, very simple. Now we can create objects of that thing. Now let's also set up a view model, which basically takes care of the communication between the view and the data, right? So the view and the model. Our model is the location data, which is the latitude and longitude, which then allows us to basically get the data, like the address from the latitude and longitude later on. So here, I'm going to call this one location view model. All right, and this thing will be a view model. All right, like so. So we need to import the lifecycle view model. Import here. Now, what do I want to do in here? Well, basically, I want to have the val location, so a private variable that will be inside here, which will be a mutable state of. Where is that? Now I need to write it. Mutable state of. And here I'm gonna say it's going to be null at the beginning, but I need to define of what type it is if I want to do that. So I'm going to say location data nullable. So mutable state of, and we need to import mutable state of. So I want to get location data, but it can be null. Okay, that's why I have this question mark, and as a default value, I'm going to set that to null as well. So if we don't have the location, we don't have the location. So we're going to accept that as a null, basically as no data. Okay, and now let's go ahead and create a location variable that we actually can access, and that will be of state location data nullable. That will be that private location. Now we need to import state here, and I'm going to use the state lifecycle one. Let me check if that's actually the right one. Lifecycle view model. Actually, it's not the right one. Let me make sure that we actually get the right state. It's the state from runtime. Import class state, the one from Android Compose runtime. So this is a tricky one. I really needed to check because sometimes there are different imports and they do different things, and suddenly the code wouldn't work and you wouldn't understand why. And that's because we just imported a different class. So here, let's have a function that will allow us to update the location. Okay, so this will get us a new location based on, well, the type will be location data, which is this data class, right? The type will be location data. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set the underscore location dot value to be the new location. So basically, we're now shielding our private location mutable state of from the outside, but at the same time, we are allowing to override it using functions. Okay, so that's just a way of using setters and getters in Kotlin. And if you don't know what setters and getters are, don't worry about it. So now we have the view model set up. So how does that view model help us? Well, the thing is, I want to get the location of the user, and I'm going to need that in the location display composable, which, if you recall, was this, well, this UI here, basically just these two elements. So the text as well as the button. Now, if I want to override the data inside of this text, I need to take care of the view model. So I'm going to put that view model in here, view model, location view model. Like so. So whenever we want to use the location display, we need to pass the view model to our location display here. Okay, so where do I get that from? Well, in my app, I can set up the view model. I can pass the view model directly to my app. We've seen that before, where we basically said, okay, I want you to pass on the responsibility further up, and the view model creation itself will happen in the onCreate function. So here I'm going to say view model is what I'm passing here as well as the next property. Let me see if I still get an error. No error anymore, but here obviously I do get an error because that's where I call them my app, and I need to pass a view model. Now where do I get the view model from? Well, that's what we can create inside of this onCreate, and we're going to do that inside of this set content. So val view model will be the location view model, where I'm just going to say it's going to be a view model like so. And let me import view model. Or actually we need to add this in dependency. So the thing is, sometimes you need to add a dependency to be able to add an import. And sometimes you just can use the import because it's already inside of the dependencies that you had. So if I do that, you see I do two things at once. I add a dependency and I add an import. So let's click on that, and you see the Gradle now will be synced. So we have seen that before when we were using view models. Let me just quickly pass the view model in here so that the error disappears. And now let's look at our Gradle to see what we have actually done. What have we done? Well, we added this view model. Let me see where it put it here. We added this implementation. It's the last implementation in here, right? So that's the one that we just added automatically, right? But that's just one of the things that we need to add. Let me check. The other one is going to be this one here. Okay, so come Google Android GMS Play Services location 21.0.1. So this will allow us to access the location API, which then, well, let's sync it, which then basically enables us to use Google Maps, so to speak, or like Google Maps location services or Google Play location services. So really powerful thing. And that then gives us the feature of, for example, knowing what latitude and longitude actually means in terms of address, because we want to get the address later on. So let's go back to our main activity. We see we can now use our view model now. And now let's go over to our location utils. So inside of this location utils, that's where I want to create another function, which then allows me to get the latitude and longitude of the user's location, so to speak. And that's what we're going to set up in the next video. So in this video, we just prepared everything, so to speak. In the next one, we're going to finalize at least that feature so that we can see the latitude and longitude. And then after that, we're going to add the actual address. So reading the address from latitude and longitude. So see you in the next one.